Avenue's Farm Radio Show with agricultural news, information, interviews, in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henne and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
A mostly sunny and absolutely gorgeous looking good morning. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. We have mostly sunny skies, 28 degrees at the airport, 28 at Radio Center. Downtown Midland is at 29. Downtown Bay City is at 28. Calm breeze. It's a beautiful day, 30.34. The barometer, though, is falling off, and that is a sign of what is to come, and we'll tell you about that in just a little bit. Very pleasant day yesterday for the most part. We did have a little bit of wind chill to contend with. It was a chilly day, but a very quiet night last night. Once again, it was chilly. We started the morning off in the teens in many locations out at the airport. It was 18 degrees over in Port Huron. It was 16 degrees in Lapeer. Howell looking at 15 degrees. Carroll, you were even cooler yet, 13, but the cold spot around, a couple of them. Ann Arbor, 12 degrees. White Lake at 12 degrees as well. And again, you can kind of tell some of the low-lying areas, they were the coolest. Now, you move a little bit further north, didn't make any difference if it was low-lying or not. They had some pretty chilly temperatures. And then you move up into the Upper Peninsula, it was downright cold. Gaylord, as an example, it was 1 at one location. 2 below zero was another reporting station in the Gaylord area. Sault Ste. Marie was at 6 overnight. Alpena at 9. Houghton Lake at 8. Pelston at 4. Looking at Jordan, East Jordan at 4 degrees. Gladwin, you started off a little bit warmer. You were at 10. Glennie was at 9. Mayo was at 6. Petoskey started off at 1. West Branch had 10 degrees as well. But again, all across the Upper Peninsula, with the exception of the far west side of the UP, everybody was in the single digits, and we did see a few below zero readings unofficially in some areas. Rexton, they started the morning off at 4 below zero, so it was pretty chilly there. What's going to be happening over the next 24 hours? A gradual warming trend is going to take place. We should finish the day at right around 40 degrees. We're going to get the help of not a high. Matter of fact, the high pressure is what generated all the cold temperatures. It's going to be a low pressure system, which right now is in Nebraska. It's going to be moving into Iowa. Eventually, it will move into Wisconsin and then cross just north of the Straits through the Upper Peninsula up into Canada. It'll be dragging a cold front across. And in the process of dragging that cold front, a warm front, first of all, is going to move through. So that's why tonight won't be nearly as chilly as what it was last night, where we were looking at 16, 17, 15 degrees. Our overnight low tonight will be 33, 32, right in that area. And that is going to be the problem, because not only are we going to be looking at temperatures around the freezing mark, cloud cover is going to move in, especially after sunset tonight. And by 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to begin to see some precipitation. I think it is going to be in the form of snow flurries, snow showers, possibly. I'm not really looking for any measurable amount, although some areas could pick up about a half inch of snow. But then once we cross the midnight hour and move into the early morning hours tomorrow morning, that snow shower, snow flurry activity, at least in the Great Lakes Bay region, is going to be converting over into icing. We are looking at a strip of freezing precipitation, icing, and that is going to be a cause for some concern for the morning drive. That's why weather advisories are up. Winter weather advisories are up beginning at midnight tonight, and that'll be going through a good part of the morning hours tomorrow morning. So the morning commute is going to be an issue. It's going to be a problem, especially early morning traveling 5:30, 6:37. Once we get into the daylight hours, not that we're going to see any sun, but we should see some warming of the temperatures, because after a low of 33 tonight, we should move up to about 55 degrees for a high tomorrow. But the forecast is for a wintry mess, and that's the best way to describe it. Early in the morning, that low pressure system over Wisconsin will be moving through the northwestern corner of the Lower Peninsula, making its way up in through the Straits and the eastern part of the UP as we go into the early morning, or I should say into the later afternoon hours tomorrow afternoon. So the warm front will be in control once we move through the early morning hours. And then we're going to see our temperatures rise to about 55 for a high, and that not really move too much off of that. We're looking for a low. If anything, maybe we'll drop about 2-3 degrees, and that's it. So 55 is going to be our high. We're going to be looking at a low of right around 52, 53, and that will be our high temperature for the day tomorrow. That'll be reached right after midnight, I should say on Thursday. That'll be our high temperature for the day on Thursday, right after midnight. But still, we'll see some cloudy skies around, and then the front will be moving through as we go through the day on Thursday. How much precipitation are we expecting? Quite honestly, I'm not expecting anything like what we had last week when it came to rain, where we picked up close to 2 inches of rain in some areas in the Great Lakes Bay region and around the state. I'm not anticipating any flooding problems because the ground, quite frankly, is now it's perked. I mean, there's not much of any freezing going on right now. So I do anticipate whatever rain we get should go down. The tile are running, so everything should be much better than what it was last week. But we are going to get some rain. But the worst part of this forecast is going to be the icing that'll take place for the morning drive tomorrow morning. Thursday, after a high right after midnight of about 54, we'll drop down to 28. And then on Friday, with clouds and a little bit of sun, 42. High pressure over Minnesota is going to dominate our weather Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We're looking for high temperatures in the mid to upper 40s throughout the weekend and the first part of the work week next week, which is pretty close to average. Average is 48 in the afternoon and 30 at night. Long range outlook to take us all the way through the 11th of April is for our temperatures to begin to get a lot closer to normal. Precipitation values for the most part are going to be at normal values during this period of time, maybe possibly picking up a little bit more in intensity as we approach the Easter weekend. But right now, that's what we're looking at as far as our weather goes. The record amount of snowfall on this date was set back in 1972, about 2.5 inches. We're not out of the woods yet. We've had some pretty stiff snowstorms the end of March and first part of April, but today is not one of those for the 29th of March. Record high in this date is 82, and that was set back in 1910. The record low is 7. That was set back in 1923. And a year ago, our high was 52 and our low was 27. So that, in a nutshell, is what the weather is all about. So Kathy and Doug Anderson, I hope you enjoy your day. And if you are going to be doing some traveling, be advised, tomorrow morning it is going to be a little messy. So give yourself a little bit more time, or maybe just put it off for a few hours. Rick Hollister standing by. We'll take a look at the markets in a moment. But before we do that, we want to remind you the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions.
Nutrien Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrien Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrienagsolutions.com.
Say, do you want to unlock the secret to higher yields? If you're applying dry fertilizer, the key to better yield potential is Titan XC. Titan XC is a fertilizer biocatalyst that unlocks and releases the bound up nutrients in granular fertilizer, promoting better root uptake and plant growth. Drive performance this season and beyond. Release more nutrition. Expect better results with Titan XC. For more information, visit lpi.ag/unlock or contact your Nutrient Ag Solutions crop consultant today. Had the opportunity to take part in a Coffee with Corn, a special edition this morning, beginning at 8 o'clock. We talked about the Ukrainian situation. And quite frankly, I learned a lot, and I know a lot of the viewers did too, about that country over in Eastern Europe. It is very interesting to see. Many of us have a pretty good idea where the Ukraine is, but to take a look at the geography and the bodies of water and the rivers, the transportation, that sort of thing when it comes to agricultural products was very interesting. And it does prove a point when it comes to trying to understand why a country like Russia would be so interested in getting that country, the Ukraine, back. And again, the potential as far as raising a crop out in that part of the world, it's to my feeling just amazing. The crops that they raise there, how efficiently they raise those crops, and how high a standing that country is when it comes to exporting crops and raw materials to the rest of the world. So it's understandable along the lines of, okay, I got a lot better understanding on why one country would want that country. And again, the agricultural part of that country is quite interesting, very interesting indeed. If you would like to see that Coffee with Corn, just go to micorn.org, take a look at the website, and you should be able to see today's edition of Coffee with Corn. Rick Hollister joining me right now over at the Andersons. Rick, I don't know if you had a chance to see that edition this morning. It was very interesting. And one of the questions I brought up to Carrie, who was the presenter, was the government report that's coming out on Thursday. Mm-hmm. I have to assume that a lot of the numbers on that government report really aren't going to reflect anything of what's been going on with this Ukrainian-Russian situation, but I don't know.
Yeah, the planning intentions report and stocks reports here on Thursday are kind of been in the back of our minds, underlying, but not the forefront market movers yet. Although, there's a pretty good range of guesses of corn acreage and soybean acreage for this spring. We initially thought that that corn acreage would be down quite a bit with the increase in cost, and then with the big move in prices higher here, there's a certain group of folks that think we actually will plant quite a bit more corn than last year, even with the higher input costs. So that's the big question the USDA is going to try and answer here in our prospective plannings report on Thursday. We're also curious about the stocks report, but that's much less of an impact, we think, on the markets, or any surprises that it may hold would be more in the prospective plannings for the spring than in the stocks report. But it's still all about Ukraine and Russia, Terry, with markets starting higher last night, corn, soybeans, wheat, and then just getting pummeled this morning around 8 o'clock, just fell off the table as we got news from the negotiation team between the Ukraine and Russia early this morning that they had maybe made some big strides forward into de-escalation. Russia talking about pulling troops back away from the capital of Ukraine in Kyiv and pulling more towards the east into those what they had once called at one time their breakaway provinces. Sounds like some major steps forward from the negotiating team that had been meeting the last 24 hours. So
yeah, I'm looking at those breakaway provinces. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ag there, a lot of wheat in that part.
There is, and then of course, how many years ago was it? 6-7 years ago when Crimea kind of broke away. from Ukraine as well, and the southern areas there down into the Black Sea. That peninsula really important to exports, and Russia's still trying to exercise some control over that area too. So it's just a real interesting political dynamic. But what an impact it has had. We'd almost traded down to 85 cents today. At the moment, we're still down 33, but almost 50 cents off from the lows that we traded here at 9 o'clock this morning. So just extreme volatility continues. Crude oil was down at $1.78 a barrel. Right at the moment, it's down $3 a barrel. The futures are anyway, the nearby futures. So, Dow Jones industrial averages and our other stock markets, the equities trading higher. That's good news for those kind of investments. But for as much as the grain markets had rallied, and the other commodities, crude oil, gold, and silver, and gasoline futures, pretty rough day all the way around in the commodities markets. Thinking that if this conflict can be resolved here short term, that it would reengage oil exports, it would reengage grain exports. Even though Ukraine has moved some exports out of their country by train to the west, since they can't export anything through the Black Sea at this point, because Russia has that pretty bottled up at the moment. So that's still the primary. We'll see if by the time we get the numbers on Thursday, whether they have much impact, depending on what the news is from those Eastern Bloc countries.
What's really interesting to me, Rick, is that diesel fuel, 70% of Ukraine's diesel fuel comes from Russia and from Belarus.
Yeah. And they're just starting in their spring planting season.
Yeah,
there, so.
and of course, not only are farmers looking for diesel, but the Ukrainian army is not only looking for diesel, but the Ukrainian army is made up of a lot of farmers. So
Yes.
you have laborers that probably should be working in agriculture. They're fighting. And then on top of all of that, you're looking at a shortage of fuel and lubricants and that sort of stuff to make the equipment go. And it's a real sticky situation there. And then they're looking at some projections as much as 40% less corn that will be available for export if they don't get that corn in, because their planting season is very similar to ours. There's no double cropping in that part. They plant it in the spring, they harvest it in the fall. That's it.
Yep, they have a fairly narrow window, as do we, of that primary. It's that 3 or 4 weeks. You might have a week or two outside either way, but you don't expect optimal yields once you get out that very narrow window. So, and it's fast approaching. We are hearing areas to the west of guys have gotten the wheat top dressed to a large part. So that's a positive for Ukraine for wheat production, which is a big part of what they do as far as their cereal grains and their exports as a country. But it remains to be seen if we can, if they can come up with the resources to get the spring crops planted, or how much of a decrease in planted acreage they will actually see.
Okay, well, we've talked long enough, so now wheat should be plus, right?
Well, it's still down, almost 40 now.
Oh my! So what have we got on the board, Rick?
At the moment, corn at Hemlock is right at $6.50. New crop is $6 even. Soybeans for March delivery at $15.98. New crop is $13.91. Red and white wheat at $9.19 for old crop, and the new crop for this summer delivery, red or white wheat, $8.90.
All right. Take care. Thank you very much, Rick. We'll talk to you again.
Yeah.
All righty.
Have a good one.
I will. Rick Hollister over at the Andersons. Jerry Samalski joining me right now from Bay Landscaping and Garden Center in Essexville. Jerry, it looks like Mother Nature's going to try to warm us up a little bit after some pretty chilly weather.
Yeah, Terry, a lot of things people are concerned about hydrangeas, those blue hydrangeas that sometimes don't bloom like they should. This is the time of year when we get that hot, cold season coming and the buds start breaking and then they freeze again. That's where we run into trouble. I don't think that's going to be a problem yet because we've not had enough good warm temperature to swell those buds and get them freezing. So I think we're going to be okay. So as long as we can just ease out of this and continue to get warmer, I think we'll have a good spring with bloom, particularly on hydrangeas.
Good advice. Yeah, a little bit of concern out there because if we'd have had some warmer weather still, we'd have seen quite a bit of activity, wouldn't we?
That's right. With that freeze that we had, what was it, 19, 18?
Mm-hmm.
That toasts a lot of things after it's been in the 50s and 60s for 4 or 5 days. That's when stuff just doesn't make it.
You got it. Jerry, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Jerry Samolsky, Bay Landscaping and Garden Center in Essexville. When we return, Craig Voorhees.
Looking for a career where every day is different. Got a knack for working on farm equipment. We're looking to grow our team. Hudson Inc., your local John Deere dealer, is responsible for keeping farmers of America running. Honest, dependable, and self-reliant mechanical technicians is who we are looking for. Hudson provides continuing education, tool allowances, and benefits. If you're interested in becoming a part of the Hudson team, go online and search Hudson Inc. Careers for more information.
Well, we're talking spring, Craig Voorhees. We got to be talking about playing outside. In particular, maybe doing a little riding outside, motorcycles. Tell us a little bit more.
Right, Terry. Eventually the warm weather will be here to stay, and it seems like it's a rite of spring. All of a sudden you start hearing and seeing the motorcycles out and about. So just a little reminder, if you're one of those folks and you took the insurance off of it for the winter, don't forget to call your agent and put it back on. That's pretty critical. And some of the policies out there for specifically for motorcycles, you don't have to call and put the insurance back on. It automatically goes on, but just make sure you know what date that actually switches, because you don't want to be caught without insurance and have something happen. So just another thing to do as you're getting the bike out of the garage, make a mental note to call your agent and make sure you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few bikes out and about, not today, but when it was warmer, boy, there were a lot of bikes out. And hey, if you want to go somewhere, it's a little bit cheaper to operate a bike right now.
Yeah, they do tend to get pretty good gas mileage, and it doesn't take $100 to fill them up.
Yeah, there you go. Craig, thank you. We'll talk to you again in a couple days, all right?
Okay, thanks, Terry.
Craig Voorhees with the Rummel Agency. Let's slide over to Steve Anderson at Baird & Company and find out what the folks in New York are doing to us right now. Steve, what's happening?
Hi, Terry. Am I sounding funny? Because you're a little crackly here.
No, you're sounding crystal clear. I'd much rather be crackly than you.
All right, very good. Then here we go. Markets are up right now with the Dow Jones Industrial Average ahead by 271 points, putting it at 35,227. Volumes 401 million shares. The Nasdaq's ahead by 190, putting it at 14,546. Volume 500 million shares. Locally, we got quite a few higher. But Caterpillar 219.16 down 269. Deere 412.80 down 1981. CMS 69.14 up 2. Dow is 63.72 down 39. DuPont 78.07 up 173. Corteva 57.64 down 139. GM is 46.33 down up to 11. Trinzio 50.50 up 161. Walmart's 147.62 up 162. Home Depot 317 even up 265. Huntington Bank 1528 up 19. And AT&T is up 16 cents at 24.03.
No crackle
Not
there.
A bad looking day.
Yeah, no crackle there. I could hear you loud and clear.
Good.
All righty. Talk to you later, Steve. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Steve Anderson over at Baird & Company. Farm Service has been brought to you today by the folks at Quality Roasting of Reese, offering competitive, consistent prices for your soybeans. Give them a call for a quote today.
Are you tired of rising prices? Are you looking for an inflation-free zone? Hi, I'm Steve Cook from Cook Chevrolet Buick and Vassar, where we've put inflation on hold. That's right, our great lease payments from last month have stayed the same. Chevy Blazer leases are still as low as $229 a month. Chevy Equinox leases are still starting at an incredible $216 a month. And even better, Silverado crew cab payments are still only $280 a month, but now include $1,000 of accessories at no extra charge. Tonneau covers or running boards or whatever you choose, only $280 a month. That's the Cook GM Superstore, M15 Top of the Hill in Vassar.
Payments based on GM employee and family lease, 10,000 miles per year and includes all rebates. $27.48 on Equinox, $28.73 on Blazer, $29.12 on Silverado due at signing.
Cook GM Superstore.
Call or visit us online at cookchevybuick.com. Chevy, find new roads.
New parts for old tractors available today at Foster's. Nope, at Steiner. Steiner Tractor Sales. New parts for old tractors are easy to get at 800-234-3280 or go to their website, steinertractor.com. New parts for old tractors. They understand how your life and job both stop if your tractor stops running. That's why they make sure that they have those parts available for you today. Planning a party coming up, you need to supply the food. Real simple, 989-894-5531. That's the telephone number of Krejak's house. Corner of Cass in Michigan on Bay City's south side. Back at 12:30 with an update. Now we conclude our program with the playing of our national anthem.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW.